Today I'm really excited. We're testing the ZV-E10 Mark II. I really liked the ZV-E10 when I tested in March, even if it was like a 3-year-old camera at that time. The only thing I didn't really like was the rolling shutter that you would get so easily when you move, and the fact that you had a crop of 1.2 when you were shooting at 4K 30. On paper, the ZV-E10 Mark II is the spot for a new YouTuber. You finally got the sensor of the A6700 and the FX30, two cameras that I hope to test and would probably be my dream camera for being in studio. You don't get a crop at 4K 30, and you can shoot at 4K 60 with a 1.1 crop. You get 10-bit color capture. You have a S-Syntone to get a cinematic effect. You get new touch menu, and you can finally shoot in vertical, and the menu will switch automatically. You don't have a mechanical shutter, and you also have like a 3-capsule microphone. With an automatic mode, you can switch it from front if you're in front of the camera like right now, back if you have like you are behind the camera and shooting while talking, or automatic when it will adjust and detect if you have someone in front or someone at the back. One of the functionality I really like about the E10 is the autofocus for the product showcase. So if you bring your product on, enough, on, enough. You can see the focus switching super fast, but it's so easy to just say, hey, this is my new product. And then like have it to focus on and back. It's really a great feature for like new YouTuber content creator that are doing product review. One thing here you can see I activated Cinetone. So it's gonna give you the 2-bar and a more cinematic effect. Of course, we'll test it outside tomorrow, but you can already see that like it's changing a little the color, frame rate, and how it's doing like the filming. Now, if we look on paper on the negative before testing the camera, the first thing is that you don't have a mechanical shutter, but you had one on the ZV-E10. There's also at least a $400 to $500. It's for the 100 Canadian now, but like the ZV-E10 is on sale at like $899, but no, the MSRP was $999. So you get a $400 like price difference. As you can see now, I'm at 4K 60. So there's like a small crop, but it's still usable even on my desk. It's also interesting, I realized by default that like it left the camera for Steadyshot on active. So the narrow field was way cut. So I thought it was the lens, but it seemed that like it's way better now if I just put it at off. We can see that we see way more behind me. One thing that's important for me to mention is that I'm not compensated for that review. Basically asked Sony if I could borrow the camera for 2 weeks, and they were like, sure. And tell us when you're ready to give it back. I really appreciate that from them, because there's no pressure and I can try it directly in my own environment at my own pace. So I feel that it's the best way to test a product. Of course, it can be good to test long term, like 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, but for a quick review for 2 weeks, I think it's perfect. Now I switched to my external microphone and my iPhone to film camera. As you can see, the body is like super small. We'll look in details, but I was really surprised when I got the camera. You also have the new 16 to 50 lens by Sony. It seems way smoother and less grainy when I'm recording. Also, like I said, of course, you have the full rotating screen. But what's interesting is that if you shoot, well, then the interface switch, which is great. So I'm really impressed of that tiny package. And it looks super good and white, even if it's not the most important. It's really kind of striking when you look at the camera. It's a camera for like video first and it showed, but it's also like well thought, like all the function, the way they map it, really gave you a great impression. It's like, okay, yeah, like it's really a well built camera. Let's talk about the main spec of the camera. You have a 26 megapixel sensor, the same that is in the FX30 and the 6700. You have a 3 capsule microphone, which is great. You have 10 bits video and Cinetone color mode. On top of the camera, you have a function button to blur the background automatically. You have a button to record, a button to take the picture on and off, and you have three mode for the slider: picture, video, or slow or fast motion. You also have a wheel and a place to put a flash or a dead cat for wind reduction. On the back, you can rotate the screen. You have like the wheels and the menu button, a button to see your video and picture. The garbage can button is also your product showcase button when you are ready to record. You also have a programmable function button. Under the camera, you have the battery compartment. It's now use a larger battery, which improve the battery life, and you can take way more video compared to the ZV-E10. I like how they switch the SD card on the side. So it's great because like if you put it on a tripod and you need to access the SD card, you can do that like easily. You also have the USB-C port and also the mini HDMI port. Audio jack. You can see here how small is the camera. The body of the camera is almost not showing up around the lens. Nothing special on the grip side. You can fully rotate the screen, and if you use it this way in vertical mode, the interface will switch, so it's way easier this way if you need to take like vertical video. Basically, I have the camera mounted on an arm to do like my arrow, like if I'm doing a talking head video. And it's worked pretty well. The camera is small, it's stable, and the face tracking and everything is on. So I think that like that would be perfect. Trying to take some B-roll of the laptop. We can see it's darker at night. Just curious about the camera and the focus. Focus is great, it's just that you can see that the white balance, it shouldn't be at ISO 200. See, now it's going at ISO 400, 4000, and it's way better for the tracking. This is an example of video at 4K 24 with the lens at 16 millimeters, so there's no crops. Et maintenant, c'est un exemple de vidéo à 4K 60. Donc, il devrait avoir un crop de 1.1, mais peut-être pas le plus visible. This is a 4K 24 video. Et maintenant, c'est à 4K 60, so it should have a crop of 1.1. This is a video with the noise reduction at off. We'll see how it goes. This is a video with the noise reduction on and using the back part of the microphone. This is an example of vlogging with Steadyshot off. I'm using a small tripod that I'm holding. I mean, it's wide enough, it's not bad. Like you can see the movement. Now, this is an example of vlogging using Steadyshot active. So it's using this camera has no IBIS, so no in-body image stabilization. One vlogging example using Steadyshot at active, so using electronic stabilization and the lens, we can already see that there's a bigger crop. Also try with... Now I'm cheating a little, but this is an example using my iPhone 14 Pro with the Osmo SC gimbal. I just want to see how better is the stabilization versus the ZV-E10. Of course I could put the E10 on the gimbal, so it's cheating and it's not exactly a fair comparison, but it's still good to do. Example of rolling shutter using Steadyshot at standard using the lens. It's way better than the E10 Mark 1 for sure. Just wanted to test the product showcase. And off, and on, and off. Just doing a quick test with the microphone set up in front and using like a dark environment with a lot of light. The video seems quite bright, so this time using ISO 6400 and automatic. I turn off some of the lights to see like how it would be. Still seems to look pretty good. The F is 3.5. Just another test with the Christmas light incandescent like lightning. It seems to still stay at ISO 6400. This is an example of vertical video. It's great for social media, and it's nice to have all the menu vertically on the camera, so I could see how it's useful for influencers and things like that. This is a webcam test using the ZV-E10 Mark II at 720p. This is a webcam test using the ZV-E10 at 4K 30. This is a test using the webcam on my M2 MacBook Pro. So what are my conclusions about the ZV-E10 Mark II? Well, what a fantastic little camera. And when I say little, I refer to the size and not the capacity. It's a big upgrade versus the E10 Mark I. You get a better sensor. You have an improved microphone. You have a bigger battery. And to give you an idea, the camera was at 94% when I started recording and taking all those like vlogging and outside shot, and I'm still at only 76%. So that's a way bigger improvement. The rolling shutter is also way better control. The new sensor, the same of the 6700 and the FX30, is like fantastic even in low light. You can use 4K 60 to record, and you only will have a 1.1 crop, and you won't have a crop at 4K 30 or 4K 24. You have Syntone for like a cinematic feeling. That's what I'm using right now, but of course I'm at my desk. You have a better body. The stabilization is more effective. You have 10 bits recording. The screen is also better. And the placement of everything from the SD card, from the USB-C are on the side. So it's way easier to switch versus like some camera having it under for the SD card. So you need to remove the tripods and things like that. But of course, not everything is perfect. So what are the big drawbacks of this camera? Well, the first one is the price. It's like $1,400 for just the camera and $1,500 with the new 16 by 50 millimeters lens. The new lens is smoother than the previous one. I also find that it's less grainy, but I didn't really test the lens that much. But if you don't have any for $100 more, it's worth getting it with the lens. So at least you have something to start with. So yeah, basically like I think the MSRP for the E10 Mark I was $999, but now you can get it on clearance at $799 or $899, which put it in a weird like position. I wouldn't recommend now someone to get like the first generation of the E10 or the ZV-1F, but if you can find it for cheap and you know the limitation, the rolling shutter, the 4K 30 crop, and you say, well, I'm just going to use it as a A cam or B cam, it's going to be standing on a tripod on my desk, I can see how someone could say, well, it's not doesn't worth paying the extra money to get the Mark II. But at the same time, I would look at the used market because you may be able to get them at 400 or 500 Canadian. So that's something to consider. But for $400 to $500 more, you get a way more capable camera. But of course, money is not infinite, so it's really depend. Like for me, it's almost a perfect camera because I'm mostly just shooting video. It's small and you get a good sensor on it, so that will be definitively a camera that will be shortlisted when I need one. Of course, I'm gonna test also the 6700 and I'm hoping the FX30. They all use the same sensors, but just to see like the difference between them, like because the 6700 has IBIS, so in body image stabilization, you have a viewfinder, you don't have a crop at 4K 60. So, you know, you're getting more, but like the MSRP is $1,900 or $2,000 like with the lens. And then you have the FX30 that have all that, but have dual SD card that has a fan, so less chance to overheat if you're shooting a long video. But it's a really video focused camera. Another drawback is overheating. I didn't really test it, and John Andon did like a video about it. The thing is that it's like 21 in studio here, and when I shot outside, because we're almost in December, it was like 2 Celsius. So because I'm taking short video, I didn't have like an overheating problem. By default, I think they say 4K 60 is 5 minutes, but if you put tolerance too high, I think you can get to 25 minutes. But just know that like if you're shooting in summer and long video, you'll need to take breaks because eventually the camera will overheat. A solution around that would be to get a 6700 and put a fan on it. They sell a tiny one, and it's been suggested to me by Sony that it's one way to improve like the 6700, or to get something like the FX30. But then like you're talking about $2,400 camera versus some one that is like at $1,400 without the lens. So it really depends like of your budget. Other things that I would consider negative of this camera is that you don't have a viewfinder, you don't have a mechanical shutter. So I feel that it's really a camera for like someone that's mostly record video. Yeah, you can take picture with it, but it's not a hybrid camera like the 6700. But as for me, I'm really impressed with the camera, and I'm gonna be sad to give it back to Sony because like it make me want to shoot more, and I can see how it would be perfect as my A cam or to get B-roll when I don't want to use my phone. Thanks for watching.